don't compare yourself to other people. Your progress is not going to be linear. Your progress will be individual to you. All right, it's lunchtime. It's Monday. We're about to go for a run. It is time trial week, so we're going to take it somewhat easy this week. Only one speed session I'm going to do on Wednesday. Today we're just going to go out for about 6 miles easy. Going to take the Pegasus Premium out there. We're feeling good today. Should be 100% from where we were at last week. That was a rough week last week. And yeah, I think for my time trial, I think I'm just going to go in with the mindset of just try and get a PR. So 1948 was my last adult PR. So if I can go run like 1940, like that's still really good. That's still an improvement. And if we're feeling good, that last mile, obviously, we'll cut down. So we'll take a look at it, but I'm thinking of going to an indoor track. As far as what shoes I'm going to wear, when I'm time trialing on a track, I like kind of something lower profile, kind of like the Vaporfly. But I don't know, maybe I'll take out the Hyperion Elite PB. I'll do a speed workout. I'm doing some 400s on Wednesday, and maybe I'll try out a couple of different pairs. So I'm kind of between either just going with the tried and true, like Vaporfly 3, or, you know, we've got a couple of super shoes, the Adios Pro 4, Cielo X1 2.0, the Hyperion Elite 4 PB, that all three of those are phenomenal shoes. So we'll kind of see. Anyway, let's go get this running. So we're going outside. We're just going to hit an easy run today. About 5 to 6 miles. We're basically just tapering into this time trial this weekend, and then next week, I don't want to, but I'm going to force myself to take running off for the week. I'm debating whether I want to do, like, to just like actually take the full week off regarding running and like lifting too, like if we want to just give it a break and take it easy, or if I'm gonna like bike and lift next week, because the key here, right, is I'm just trying to, you want to like actually just give your body a break, like a full-on break. Some runners will actually take like a full month or months off in their off season from running, but then they're still biking. But I think it's good every now and then to just take like a full reset, not get kind of that impact or that time on feet. And so that's what I'm going to try and do. And then we're going to do a base build where we're really going to be prioritizing building mileage, as well as building up that lactate threshold, that strength, that endurance. And so then we can come back and sharpen for the 5K and attack that a little bit better. But that's the plan. I'm dreading next week because I want to run. But I think a base build will be kind of a good reset for me, and also give me a chance to work on my body composition, which I think over the last couple of years, maybe the last year or so, got a little bit off just due to stress and different things. So I'm going to try and do a full reset, you know, make sure that we can get everything back on track and attack the 5K and 10K in a more efficient manner. All right, we are almost to about 4 miles, and my effort feels like a 3 out of 10. My heart rate is at like a 5 out of 10. So I'm wondering if I'm just still kind of pretty fatigued from last week and being sick, which makes sense. It's frustrating, but time trial coming up, so you gotta lock in, just make sure we're recovered, not overdo it. So we'll shake some rust off tomorrow with the 400s. We'll go from there, but effort-wise feels great. It's just sometimes the metrics don't match what the body's saying. So it is what it is. Right, we're about a mile and a half into our warm-up, and Cielo X1 2.0, it's aggressive. It is it's bouncy, it's nimble. That rocker though is very much Wave Rebellion Flash-esque. Very aggressive rocker, more aggressive than
probably most super shoes, just in terms of that shape, right? Not necessarily saying it's the most aggressive super shoe, just the rocker itself. So we'll be interested to see how these feel at that 6:10 pace, but let's wrap this up, get moving.
All right, we are back in the cloffice, which is my closet office, and just getting to work. So overall, the workout went really well. In fact, I was having a really hard time hitting like 6:10 pace. I was way overshooting it, but I was trying to just go off of feel, and so that was a little bit interesting. I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign for actual I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign for time trial day, but 6:10 pace should feel relatively easy for 400-meter repeats, and it did. So that's a good sign. We'll just have to see kind of where it goes from here. But all in all, feeling good. It was nice to get some turnover. The Thursday morning, we just have 5-6-ish miles easy, and it is raining and snowing outside. So we're just gonna do this on the treadmill. Trying to take it easy this week anyway because we've got the time trial. So I'm excited, but also nervous about it. The last one, just as you guys know, did not go as planned. And I think I'm getting in my head about it. I don't know. The body's clearly tired. It's ready for a break. Part of me wonders if I should have just time trialed 2 weeks ago, but the indoor track wasn't available. And the outdoor track was covered in snow again. So timing just hasn't really worked out. It's one of these things that I don't think a lot of people talk about is like, by being public with my training and by, doing this, it opens me up to a lot of scrutiny, which I understand, like it comes with the territory. And at the end of the day, like, I tell myself, like, I don't care what people think as far as like if I hit my goal, if I don't hit my goal, how long it takes me to hit my goal, because I know I'm constantly progressing, right? And I'm trying to just get better, and I know I've gotten better, and whether I can express that on time trial day or not, right, is to be seen. But like, I'm not naive to the fact that I've put out some big goals over the last little while and have not necessarily hit those yet. The sub-3 marathon that I kind of crashed and burned on, right? The most recent time trial where I kind of crashed and burned, right? We're crashing and burning on a lot of things. Now we're still constantly getting better is the thing, but when it comes to like the performance day, like the build up to that day, I have come up short a lot. I don't know. It's this weird thing. Like, is it embarrassing? A little bit. Am I still confident that I'm getting better? I'm getting stronger. I'm getting faster. Yeah, I am. And eventually my crashing and burning will be tomorrow's PRs, if that makes sense, right? So it's like, crash and burn at this last 5K attempt was, a 20-something 5K, right? And it used to be like, a year, 2 years ago, that would have been like a 5K PR, right? So while I didn't have my best performance on time trial day in terrible conditions, a terrible environment, I was able to run what would have been a past PR, somewhat like not effortlessly, obviously, but my what they say, when you shoot for the moon, you fall among the stars. It's like my stars are now past PRs, right? And that will continue to be the case. So like, I don't like failing, right? Sometimes people get really critical when I come up short and they're like, oh man, I feel like you strung this along. Like, I feel like you're deceiving your audience. And it's like, no, I mean, if anything, I feel like I'm probably the most, if not one of the most transparent, right, running creators out there as far as like what life actually looks like. But yeah, I mean, I understand, like, people root for me, they get invested in the journey, and then if I come up short and I don't deliver, like, they feel like they invested some emotional capital into that and they're not happy with the result. I can tell you that I'm more upset with the result when that happens. But yeah, you put pressure on yourself when you put yourself out there on the internet. So I am feeling some pressure this time around, given the last result. But regardless of the result on Saturday, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the work. I'm proud of my consistency, and I'm ready to take a break and ready to base build and just kind of have a change of pace. Running pun there for you guys, because you can't push peak performance and volume right year round. So what I'm going to do, I think I've already talked about it, but I will take that week off. I will bike and lift for a week, just let the body kind of relax a little bit though. And then I will ramp my mileage back up. And I think I'm going to try and get up to not necessarily like a certain mileage target, but I want to be able to build volume that pushes my aerobic capacity, right? So lots of easy volume, lots of threshold work. I'm thinking, we probably start week 1, we do 6 hours of running, then week 2, like 7 hours, week 3, 8 hours, week 4, 9 hours, right? And try and get up to about 10 hours of running. And then once we feel good about that, then we'll kind of hold that for some time, cap out our volume, and then after about 8 to 12 weeks, that's where we come back and we focus and start building for the 5K again. My hope is that by moving the needle on that aerobic capacity, that lactate threshold, that strength endurance, that I'll be able to then sharpen very quickly into the 5K and 10K, because I would love to get into a half or full training cycle for the fall and winter. I have a half marathon that I could probably do in June, and then I have another half that I would love to reattempt. I ran it 2 years ago, I think, in October. And then if I'm able to run a successful half in October, I may consider just ramping all the way to December for California International Marathon and looking at potentially going and running that. The other potential would be if I have a successful half in June, or whether I do or don't, I'm kind of looking at Chicago and seeing if I can get into the Chicago Marathon, whether that be through a charity bib or potentially working with a brand or something along those lines to run Chicago, because I do think that could be a really good course to go set a marathon PR. So that's where my head's at. I don't have a whole lot on the calendar. I kind of get event anxiety if I'm going to spend the money and the time away from the family, right? I want it to be worth it. And so in the past I raced a lot because I raced Spartan racing, and there was events like every month, and I was kind of just trying to go get age group awards, and it wasn't really important the venue so much. But with road racing and whatnot, like, it is just very, I feel like you have to be more planned with your training cycles. And if I'm going to spend all that time training for a race, if I'm going to spend all that time, like all that money traveling, staying overnight, like, it's a commitment. You guys know this if you run, these out of state marathons and stuff, like, it's a commitment. But if I'm going to do that, I want to make sure, I'm putting in the time and the effort and that it's worth that. So. All right. Just about 2 miles in almost. We're keeping the heart rate real chill today. Just really not trying to overdo it. Want to feel recovered for Saturday. So here we go. Proof that I practice what I preach. Sitting at 134. We're going 10:21, right? 10:21 to get it done. We walked for a couple of minutes, so average pace is a little slower. But we're taking it real easy. We'll speed up a little towards the end, but just trying to get the time on feet, get the turnover, right? Keep that heart and lungs healthy, and then we will crush it. Crush it this weekend, so. All right, run done. We kept it real chill except for the last mile. I bet my average heart rate is either in the high 130s, low 140s, which is great. Legs feel smooth, felt easy, got 6 miles. We're almost over 30 on the Pegasus Premium, and we'll do a review probably once I get over 30, because just want to make sure, typically I would go like 40 plus. I feel like I've got this shoe figured out after about 30. I've taken it on a lot of different runs, a lot of different length of runs. So, but yeah, Pegasus Premium. I think I just said Pegasus Plus. Yeah, Pegasus Premium. You know, it's a decent shoe. It is a decent shoe. I'm gonna be completely transparent here. Like, I just don't understand the rationale behind some of these premium $200 plus, $200 like long run shoes. And maybe that's the issue, right? Is that fogging up? I think the issue is they are running shoes and they're good for running, right? They're not worth the $200, but they are not necessarily supposed to be like exclusively running shoes. I think with, you know, like pop culture, is that the right term? Like, I don't know, just like sneakerhead culture and the popularity of running and the increasing number of like running brand collaborations with influencers and businesses and crossovers, things like that. I think that the Pegasus Premium frankly just sits in a different category. Now, what is that category? In my opinion, that category is like pop culture, it's fashion, it's style, and it blends with running. So is it a capable running shoe? Yes, absolutely. Is it a $200 plus running shoe? No. But based off of how people are going to want to use it, both for potentially running and for fashion, right? And for hype, right? It is a little bit of a status symbol type shoe, at least with the Pegasus Premium. I think that's why the dollar value is there. Again, as a pure runner, it's not worth that dollar amount. But maybe as like a collector style item, maybe it is. And this shoe sold out immediately, right? So from a performance standpoint, no, it's not worth the money. But from a fashion standpoint, maybe it is.
All right. Friday morning. We're just getting a little bit later start. Dropped my son off at school a little early today. So it's just a little bit before 8. And since we're only doing like 2.5, 3 miles, we're just kind of doing it quick, doing it outside. We'll get to work for the day. Been prioritizing sleep this week, right? Wanted to go into my time trial rested. One kind of weird thing that's popping up is my left hip flexor is a little bit like feeling a little bit weak. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but we're taking next week off of running. So just kind of got to get through the weekend and hope it doesn't flare up or anything during my time trial. But based off of weather and everything the last few days, we're definitely going inside. There's just some frost on the ground and stuff, and I don't want any excuses, anything that could affect me on that track, because that track will get a layer of frost even if it doesn't snow a ton. So we're going inside, and the only thing that could really derail us is if there's just like a ton of people at the track. But we're going right when it opens, 6 a.m. Fingers crossed. So let's finish this run and get to work.
It's 5:30 a.m. I'm about to drive over to the indoor track. It's about half an hour away. It's at the Olympic Oval here in Utah. I'm glad I did, because I'm looking outside and it's not snowing, but it is 20 degrees out. And I don't want any wasted energy going into temperature this week, or today, right? So go on the Olympic Oval. Well, one thing I'm not really sure about with the Olympic Oval is the track is, I think it said 442 meters. So it's not 400 meters, right? So coming through at 442, I'm not exactly sure what my pacing should be. And sometimes on indoor tracks, your GPS doesn't do super great. And so I am a little bit worried about that. I know that 11.3 laps is what I need to get in. But I'm a little bit worried that my Strava is not going to reflect properly like the actual distance, that it will either over or underestimate the distance and throw off my recording. Now I do have a pacer, so he will be he'll be like my eyewitness, I guess, for this, so that I know where I'm at. But I just really hope that the GPS matches up with the actual distance that I run, so that I can feel confident and I can trust it, because it, you know, it's just one of those things that like, it's going to be really weird if it's not correct. Not for social media purposes, like for myself, right? Like to run it and let's say I get like 1920, right? And the watch says I've only run like 2.5 miles. That's going to feel pretty crappy, because then I will never quite know if I actually ran 1920. Like, I guess I will, because I'll have covered the distance. Anyway, it just will cast some doubt upon myself, which I don't necessarily want with this, right? I want to be confident with it. So anyway, we're going to drive over there. Yeah, get this done. We'll probably do a total of like 5-6 miles today. So we'll do a 2-mile warm up, run the 5K, do a couple mile cool down. And it's my first time running on an indoor track for this type of workout. When I first started running, I would go to the indoor track over at BYU, and it's a really short track. That one is like really, really short. And it was also really, really tilted, like angled, which was really unfortunate. We'll see kind of how this one is. But yeah, I'm just shooting basically for 1940, not going, you know, not shooting for anything crazy. Want to be controlled, want to be, you know, comfortably uncomfortable until the very end there, and then push, and gonna try a negative split. So that's the plan. Let's go get it.
All right, Kyle's here. We're warming up. We're trying to figure out the lines here because, again, lane 1 is like 452, not 400. So the lines aren't clearly defined super well, but we think we found the 5K start point. And so you start there, you run across the standard start line and run 11 laps. So it's gonna be hard. We can't go off a lap pace. We're going off of
a lot of feel.
Yeah, a lot of feel, a lot of hopeful, accurate pace, but my GPS is bugging. We'll see. It's gonna be a lot of mental today, and this is probably difficult to pace too for Kyle. So we'll
figure it out.
We'll go throw down. Kyle, how did we do?
He did it.
Woo!
Sub 1930.
So we went off of track distance. We found out the lining. We hugged the inner lane. It was 442. Plus we started at the 5K mark. So essentially 11.3 something laps. So because GPS was not working inside, my watch says 3.06. So Strava won't recognize it, obviously, but I'm gonna recognize it. 19:27. We got a PR. It is an 11-second adult PR. It is 15 seconds faster than at the start of my training block. 6 months for basically 15 seconds. I mean, if I was a pro, that would be world breaking. But as an amateur, as a dad who just wants to run fast, I'm damn proud of that. Now we still got 47 seconds left. So at our current pacing, it'll be a couple of years before I get to 1840. But I really do think focusing on my weaknesses being my upper end aerobic strength, not capacity, but strength, right? Operating at a high percentage of that lactate threshold, getting efficient as hell. That's the next step. I'm satisfied. We're going into base building after a week off. So shout out to Kyle, my pacer through all these projects. I appreciate him. And shout out to him, follow him for the Grandma's Marathon.
Yeah.
He's trying to go 6-minute pace?
Yep.
6-minute pace.
So 2:37-ish.
2:37, beast mode. All right, there we go. Kyle's going to the bathroom. I'm hitting my cool down laps. Oh, I was gonna throw up there for a sec. I didn't. I hung on. My strategy was just hold on. I knew my watch was off. Kept saying 6:22. That was my former PR pace, and I knew it was actually slower than when I was running. Just held on, laid out. Held on, laid out. There we go.
All right. That was a 21 second PR actually. My brain was all foggy. So 1948 was my PR at the end of 2023. I then didn't really focus on the 5K until this year, or end of last year. So I hit my 5K PR end of 2023, then focused on kind of like the marathon, half marathon, that stuff. And then recently came back to the 5K, right, as of about 6 months ago. When I tested 6 months ago, I ran a 1952, so I was about 4 seconds slower overall than where I had been, which makes sense if I wasn't focusing kind of on that speed, but my overall endurance was obviously better at that point. And so over 6 months, I've been sharpening, and we cut down 21 seconds. So the official time, 19:27 is the official time. We went by the lines on the track because it was indoor, so GPS was not accurate. So lines on the track, that's what we did. We measured, there was a line that said 5K, and we knew it was 11.3 laps. So we started 0.3 ahead, and then we hit the lap, and then went 11 times around. 19:27, guys. 6:13 pace. 6:13 pace. Hurt like hell. Really bad. But like really happy with it, like really happy with it. Look, I've got to shave essentially, what is that, 49 seconds, right? I got to shave 49 seconds roughly to go sub like 47 seconds to hit 1840 exactly. I want to go basically 6:01 pace, which will put me at about 1840, right? So I've got to shave just, we'll call it like 13 seconds per mile. That's a lot. That's a lot to shave over a mile. But we shaved 21 seconds, and if you count the extra 4 seconds, right, 25 seconds over 6 months roughly. I think I've been ignoring a big weakness of mine, which is my lactate threshold. I do think that is where I need to focus. So in my base building block, I will still hit like 2 workouts a week, probably like 1.5. So like every other week, my long run will probably incorporate some type of tempo or threshold. But hitting kind of more of a threshold, like half marathon, 10K pace effort in like every Monday or every Tuesday is kind of what I'm going to think, and go higher volume, right? So go like 10K volume at kind of threshold effort where it's challenging, but not, I'm not floored after it, and then just high volume. Work on that lactate threshold, work on that aerobic efficiency, get in the weight room, some plyometrics, some really focused stuff. I'm gonna hit up my friend Braden over at BYU, see if I can maybe hire him to design some strength for me, maybe for my off season, and then for the 5K again. And we'll get into it. You know, I'm optimistic. I was nervous. I talked about this early on in the vlog. I was nervous. I was nervous that I wasn't gonna do it, that I was gonna fall flat. I was nervous that my training wasn't working, right? I got like a decent amount of hate 4 weeks ago, right? When I failed miserably on the track, and it was snowy. Like there was no reason why anyone should have been like, oh, like you didn't improve, you suck. But like I got some messages, and I do a good job, I feel like, of letting things not bother me. But like you hear something enough and you start to get self-doubt, right? And you put yourself on the internet and you open yourself up to scrutiny. So yeah, I was feeling it a little bit. I was feeling the pressure, and to get out here and to deliver and to answer the call, to answer the pressure, to have a community that was cheering me on, friends, Kyle, multiple times he keeps coming out to pace me. I owe him. He's amazing. He's a really busy guy. He's training on his own. He coaches Westlake High School. He teaches. He works at the running store. The dude works like a madman to be able to support his running. And he took time out of his day, right, to be here at 6 a.m. at a track that is like 30-40 minutes away from our houses. So really appreciate him. Happy with my progress. 25 seconds in 6 months is really good progress, right? It may not seem like it sometimes when you look at a lot of influencers out there. You look at these people, you see people. I mean, I know a guy who like just really started running, like really started training like a year, maybe 6 months ago, and he's already running sub 17-minute 5Ks. That's not normal. right? Like, that's not normal. He's gifted, and like, he's working his butt off, but he's gifted. Not everyone is gifted in running. It doesn't come naturally to everyone like that, right? It's basically taken me 4 years to shave 4.5 minutes off of my 5K time, right? Now, if you look back like 6 years, 7 years, I've shaved off a ton, because when I first started running, like, a 5K took me 28 minutes, you know? So over 6-7 years, we've shaved like almost 10 minutes off. But it, like, that's the thing, 6-7 years, guys, 4 years for 4 minutes. It's a grind. It's a grind. It's not normal to make these massive jumps that a lot of people are making. And so don't, like, it can be discouraging. I know I'm part of the internet. I know I'm on here, like, but don't compare yourself to other people. Your progress is not going to be linear. Your progress will be individual to you. And I think if you set yourself, if you constantly compare yourself to others and their improvement and their trajectory, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, and you're putting yourself under a microscope that doesn't make sense, right? Your life is not my life. My life is not your life. You know, I can train a certain amount. I couldn't train a certain amount 7 years ago, right? I couldn't. I didn't have the time. I have the time now, and I'm fortunate because of a lot of things. I may not have the time in 3 years, really. As my kids get older and their schedules get busier, I may not have the time, guys. So I'm doing what I can today to try and chase dreams, to capture stuff. But progress is not linear. We can't decide how quickly we improve. So I'll get off my soapbox here. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm happy with my progress. I'm happy to have broken through a little bit on the 5K to make some real tangible progress. 25 seconds, guys, in 6 months. I will take that. Does that means it would take me another year to get to 1840, but I really think there's some weaknesses that I can nail down in my off season that are going to make this happen quicker for me. So let's call it 3 to 4 months from now, I'm time trialing, and I think I've got a shot at 1840. We're going to put in the work, but if we don't and we come up short but we keep improving, I'm happy with that. That's life. So there it is. There's the week. I have no idea how many hours it is. I have no idea how many miles it is. I know it's under 40, right? We tapered, we came in, and we're going to take off running next week, let the body heal. My hip is actually not feeling great, if I'm being honest. I didn't want to make excuses for this, but my hip is not feeling great. I think I may have pulled it a little bit earlier this week doing something. My left arch has been screaming at me, so I need to take a week off from running, and you know, we'll ramp back in. My thought is we'll come back and we'll ramp over about 3 weeks. We'll go like 35, 45, 55 in terms of mileage, or I may just look at time on feet and say I'm going to go like 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. And then I kind of want to cap out around 10 hours of running. So we'll see. I think I can cap out probably around 65 miles peak in my base build, is kind of the goal. So we'll see how that looks and how the body responds. So it's a good week, guys. It was a good week.